Imagine this. You're 5 years old, sprawled out on a sun-warmed lawn, the scent of freshly cut grass tickling your nose, and summer stretches ahead like an endless golden ribbon. A single day feels like a sprawling adventure. Hours spent chasing fireflies, building lopsided sandcastles, or just staring at clouds morphing into dragons and pirate ships. Now blink. You're an adult, staring at a calendar, wondering how it's already December when you swear it was June 5 minutes ago. Time didn't just speed up. It's practically sprinting, leaving you breathless, grasping at days that slip through your fingers like sand. Why does it feel this way? Why does childhood linger in slow, vivid strokes while adulthood blurs into a high-speed reel? The answer isn't in the ticking of a clock. It's in your mind, in the way you live, and in a wild century-old idea that rewrites everything you thought you knew about time. Let's rewind to a French philosopher named Henri Bergson, who over 100 years ago looked at the world's obsession with clocks and said, "You're doing it wrong. We've all been taught to see time as a straight line. Seconds stacking into minutes, minutes into hours, a relentless march forward. It's the time that blinks on your phone, that buzzes your alarm, that traps you in meetings and deadlines." But Bergson? He saw something deeper, something alive. He called it la durée, duration. And it's not about counting ticks. It's the stretch of a lazy afternoon with a friend, the endless ache of waiting for bad news, the way a single moment of joy can outshine a year of monotony. Bergson argued that real time isn't a machine. It's a river, twisting and swelling with your experiences, your emotions, your very consciousness. And here's the kicker. The faster time seems to fly, the more likely you're letting that river dry up. Think back to those endless childhood summers. Every day was a first. Your first scraped knee, your first taste of sour candy, your first leap into a chilly lake. Your brain was wide awake, soaking it all in, painting memories in bold, messy strokes. Now compare that to last week. Did you drive the same route to work? Eat the same oatmeal? Scroll the same apps? Routine is the thief that steals time, turning days into a gray smear. Science backs this up. Studies show that as we age, most of us feel time accelerating, especially past 30. Psychologists used to chalk it up to something called proportional theory. When you're 10, a year is a tenth of your life. Huge and sprawling. At 50, it's a measly 2%, barely a blip. But that's only half the story. Your brain doesn't just scale time, it rewrites it. When life gets predictable, when every day mirrors the last, your mind stops bothering to record it. No new memories, no markers, just a blank stretch where time collapses into nothing. Now, let's get wilder. Bergson didn't just challenge clocks. He took on Einstein. Yes, that Einstein, the guy who turned physics upside down with relativity. In 1922, the two squared off in a Paris debate that crackled with tension. Einstein saw time as a dimension, a cosmic thread woven into space, measurable and precise. Clocks ticked the same everywhere. He said, "Whether you're on Earth or hurtling through a galaxy, time could stretch near a black hole or shrink at light speed, but it was still a cold, universal truth." Bergson, he called that a lie. Not the science, but the soul of it. To him, Einstein's time was a skeleton, stripped of life. Real time, la durée, wasn't on a clock. It was in your laughter, your tears, your racing heart. A minute of boredom could choke you. A minute of love could vanish in a breath. Einstein won the crowd with equations. But Bergson won the poets with a truth we all feel. Time isn't physics alone. It attests human. So why does this matter? Because we're drowning in Einstein's world. Look around. Your phone pings with reminders. Your calendar boxes your days into neat little cages. Your apps track every second of productivity. We've traded living for scheduling, depth for efficiency. Bergson warned us about this over a century ago. Clocks don't measure life, they control it. The more you let them rule, the more time shrinks. But here's the twist. He didn't just diagnose the problem, he handed us a way out. If time feels like it's speeding up, it's not the universe playing tricks. It's you letting your brain go numb. The fix? Rebel. Break the script. Flood your life with moments that wake you up, that force your mind to pay attention, that stretch la durée back into something you can taste. Let's unpack this rebellion. First, chase novelty. Your brain is a junkie for the new. It thrives on it. When you try something unfamiliar, like tasting a strange fruit or wandering a street you've never walked, your hippocampus, the memory maker, lights up. It stamps the moment, slows your perception, makes time feel full again. Remember your first kiss. The way your pulse hammered, the way every second burned into your skull. That's novelty at work. A 2016 study found people listening to unfamiliar music thought it lasted 20% longer than familiar tunes. Why? Their brains were busy, weaving fresh threads into the tapestry of memory. Childhood was a novelty factory. Every day a discovery. Adulthood, we settle into ruts. Same coffee, same commute, same Netflix queue. Break it, take a detour. Cook something that might fail spectacularly. Dance in your kitchen to a song you've never heard. Small shocks, big payoffs. Next, ditch the autopilot. Routine is a silent assassin. When you repeat the same tasks, scrolling, working, sleeping, your brain hands the reins to the basal ganglia, the habit machine. It's efficient, sure, but it's a memory blackout. Your first day at a job drags because it's chaotic. New faces, new rules, new coffee machine disasters. By day 100, it's a smear of sameness. Bergson's la durée shrivels when life flatlines into predictability. So flip the script, eat breakfast for dinner, work from a park bench, shower with the lights off. These tiny jolts confuse your brain just enough to keep it awake, to make time stretch instead of shrink. The paradox is brutal. Comfort saves energy, but robs you of life's texture. Then there's memory itself. Tricky, slippery memory. You don't feel time as it happens. You rebuild it later. A week of wild travel, lost luggage, street food, foreign stars, feels endless in hindsight because your brain logged every twist. A week of cubicle monotony? It's a single fuzzy snapshot. As we age, the firsts thin out. Marriage, kids, a house. They're big, but they're not the daily fireworks of youth. Your brain starts filing years into vague folders. The pandemic stretch, or that job I hated. Bergson saw this coming. He said the past isn't gone, it's alive, bleeding into your now. Trauma can stretch a minute into agony. Nostalgia can collapse decades into a heartbeat. The more vivid markers you give your mind, the less time flattens into a line. Let's circle back to that Einstein-Bergson showdown. Einstein's time got us GPS and sci-fi dreams. Practical, brilliant. But Bergson's time? It's why you care about any of it. It's the ache of a sunset, the rush of a song, the weight of a goodbye. Einstein gave us a map. Bergson gave us the journey. Today we're stuck in the map. Productivity apps slicing our days into tasks. Screens stealing our presence. Bergson's rebellion is a call to fight back. To reclaim la durée before it asks just a tally of hours worked and shows binged. Now, lean into the messy stuff. Lose yourself in a conversation that runs past midnight. Paint something terrible and laugh at it. Stand in the rain until you're soaked. These aren't wastes of time. They're time itself, raw and pulsing. Here's a practical hack. Mindfulness. Not the yoga mat cliche, but real gritty presence. When life races, pause. Feel the weight of your phone, the hum of the fridge, the bite of cold air. Savor a sip of water like it's rare whiskey. Studies say those jaw-drop moments, stretches time. Watch a storm roll in. Listen to a street musician. Stare at a spiderweb glistening with dew. Your brain can't rush when it's marveling. Bergson knew this instinctively. The richer the moment, the less it slips away. And the irony, those rich moments feel fast while you re-in them. Hours melt at a concert or a party, but they linger in memory, expanding your sense of life. Let's stretch this further. Boredom. Yes, boredom can save you. We're terrified of empty space, filling it with TikTok, podcasts, endless noise. But Bergson saw boredom as fertile ground. Sit still for 10 minutes. Watch a shadow crawl across the floor. Let your mind wander. It's not lazy. It's alive. Constant stimulation flattens time into a drone. Silence lets it breathe. Try a tech detox. 1 hour. No screens. You'll fidget. You'll hate it. Then you'll notice the world again. That's la durée creeping back, reclaiming what distraction stole. Aging doesn't have to be a time thief. Sure, proportional theory says years shrink as a fraction of your life. But Bergson says nonsense. It's about how you fill them. A 90-year-old who learns guitar or hikes a new trail can stretch time more than a 20-year-old glued to a screen. Novelty, presence, rebellion, they're ageless. Science agrees. Neuroscientists found that when we reflect or daydream, the brain's default mode network kicks in, weaving past and present into a fluid dance. Stress shrinks time. Wonder expands it. You're not a victim of the calendar. You're the architect of your river. Picture this. A year from now, you're flipping through photos and instead of, "Where'd it go?" you're grinning at a flood of moments. Spilled paint from a failed art night. A sunburn from a spontaneous hike. A stranger's story you'll never forget. That S. Bergson. S. gift. Time isn't T, slipping away. You were just letting it fade. Rebel against the clock. Trade efficiency for intensity. Fill your days with firsts, with presence, with glorious, messy life. Because time isn't a number, it's a feeling, and you get to decide how deep it runs. So here's your challenge. Tonight, do one thing that scares your routine. Call someone you miss. Cook something wild. Step outside and listen to the dark. Time won't slow down for you, but you can make it matter. Bergson was right. Clocks count, but you live. How will you stretch your river?